Yo, what's going on YouTube? My name is Zaisho and welcome back. In this episode, we're going to check out the differences between regional creatures. And you may not be aware of it, but there are differences between the regional creatures. And I'm also keen on what they'll bring out in Genesis Part 2 as well. Okay, so let's see what we got in the first example here. Alright, so let's check out Rexes. Now, as you can see here, we've got the normal vanilla T-Rex, we have the Tek Rex, and then we have the X-Rex, which was introduced in Genesis Part 1. And these are all spawned in at a level 1. This is to get their base stats. Okay, so let's have a look using the inspection gun. The health is 1100.1 and damage is at 125.8. And it looks like the Tek Rex has exactly the same stats. Okay, good. So now the X-Rex. Ooh, okay. Slightly less HP. So it's got 1067.1. Everything else looks the same. Still got 125.8 melee damage. Okay, so let's bite something. The best thing to do is go for an attack right now. I spawned in a level million Listro. Can he take the heat? So the Tek Rex bites for 89 damage. Okay, let's compare this to our vanilla Rex. Yep, the same 89 damage. And finally, the X-Rex. Holy, 94 damage. So a significant increase there compared to the 89. Bear in mind, this is just a level 1. Okay, so that was the damage test. Now let's look at the levels. How much can we spend? We have a total of 73 on the vanilla. Now these Rexes have their experience maxed out. So let's check. 73 again for the Tek. But then 88 for the X-Rex. Newer is better, I guess. Okay, so now we're going to quickly run through if there's any differences in taming them. First up is the vanilla Rex. And this again is at level 1. 1, 2 shot. 3 shot, 4. So 4 shots in order to knock this one out in particular. Now let's look at the Tek Rex. A 2, a 3, and a 4. So same goes for the Tek Rex as well. Now let's go for the X-Rex. And if you got Genesis, you might know this already, but this guy's going to take a lot longer to take out. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right, keep spinning. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, and he passed out. Yes, as expected, the X creatures have increased resistance. So in this case, it took over twice as long to KO. Okay, let's check out the stats right now. 1100 HP and 100% melee damage. And the Tek Rex, ooh, exactly the same. Torpidity is the same as well. And let's just check out the vanilla Rex. Exactly the same stats. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to the X-Rex now and let's quickly force tame it. Watch the HP. Okay, good. So we tamed it. It's still at level 1 and there it is. The HP has decreased. So it's 1067.1 after tame. So the HP is nerfed after tame. Now let's look at the damage resistance after you've tamed it. I've just spawned in the Wild Rex to take in some damage to all 3 variants. And it's doing the same amount of damage to all 3 Rexes. So you won't be keeping the resistance buff. It's only for Wild X Dinos. Okay, so let's summarize what we've learned between the variants. We'll use the normal vanilla Rexes as a default. So they're the baseline standard. We know that the Tek Rex has exactly the same stats. But the X-Rex has 5% more damage and 3% less HP after tame. Just taking another look at the X creatures. In the wild, they deal more damage by 250%, and they also have 60% resistance, so they'll take longer to trank out. Now, I've put longer to tame there because all you need is extra darts if you need to tame them. But that would also make them harder to kill. On the positive side, if you are leveling up in Genesis 1, it will award you 2.5% more experience than the standard variants. And also, and this is huge, it gives an extra 15 levels after tame. So that's 88 level ups compared to 73, which you get for the other 2. Alright, so what about the Tek Creatures? Kinda different in that they drop oil, electronics and scrap metal after you kill them. But remember, Tek Creatures were released before Genesis, and what made them better than their vanilla counterparts is that you could find them up to 30 levels higher, to 180 max level in the wild. Now comparing this to the X-Rex, when they get 15 levels after you tame them, is that you can put those 15 levels wherever you want. But on the Tek Rexes, it's absolutely a must to tame them at level 180 to get the maximum benefit. So you can tame them at a higher level, but the RNG and stat distribution isn't ideal, and they can be allocated anywhere. There is currently one other variant, and that's the Aberration variant. Aberration creatures were released before the Tek Creatures, And since there's no Aberration Rex, we're looking at the Spino in this example. It looks so good, but in night only. Okay, I got these Spinos in front of me. Let's take a look. What's going on with the normal one? 700.1 HP and 125.8 melee damage. Hey, what? The X Spino has 679.1, so 21 points in HP lower. Same attack percentage. And the Aberrant Dino has 672.1 and the same melee, so that's 28 points lower than the original Spino. Bear in mind, these are still at level 1. Now for the damage test. Okay, so the normal Spino does 50 damage in our little test here. Oh, the X Spino looks so cool. X Spino does 52 damage. And finally, the Aberration variant, dealing 53 damage. Looking at the stats. Yep, looks the same. X Dinos get 88 points to level up in, and I think this is probably the major contributing factor. I mean, I can simply just use one of those extra points and just level up the melee just to balance it off. And the HP decrease as well. I can balance that off with adding an extra point, and I'll still have 13 extra levels where I can put my points into. Okay, so check this out. I'm just going to max my melee on everything, including the extra levels from the X Dino. I mean, come on guys, we know what's going to happen. The X Dinos are kind of OP. It's all due to this extra levels and points you can level up in. You know what? I might as well go bipedal and smack these Listros. You know they do more damage on Spinos than the quadrupedal. X Dino smacks it out with 197. There's a normal vanilla Spino maxed out with his attack as well, 169. And the Aberration Dino, $179. Okay, so what do we know about the Aberration Dinos compared to the X Dinos? This was the breakdown of our little experiment that we did. So Aberration Dinos have about 4% less HP than the normal variants, and the X Spinos and the X Creatures have 3% less. But that difference in HP also makes up for it in attack. So in Aberration Creatures, they deal 6% more damage than normals, but in the X Dinos, they only deal 5% more. So we also did the maximum attack, so all points were put into melee, and then we used the standing attack to get the most amount of damage. And it looks like the Aberration Dino stayed consistent, but the X Spino, because of the 15 levels that we put in, gave it a whopping 16% increase. I mean, if they want to make these regional variants actually competitive, Wildcard shouldn't focus much on the actual level ups. I think that they should just be stat based only and just deviate only on the stats, and give a fair playing field over how many level ups you can get on the Dino. So it would be competitive if the X Dinos did not get the extra 15 levels. Okay, so that was if you're worried about the melee attack. What if you wanted to check out the HP and you notice that they have less HP than the normal variants? We're looking at the Paracer in this example. Again, we're looking at a similar stat distribution compared to the Spinos that we looked at previously. But look at this, right? So Aberrant Creatures have 4% less HP. So this dude's got 985 HP. And we know the vanilla guy has 1026.1 HP. All I need to do is put in 2 points and I've got 1052, and I've already beaten the vanilla counterpart. Same as the X Dino, which has 3% less HP. I'm just going to offset that with some points. Oops, there, you see that? I just went past it. All I needed was 1 point and I would have just matched the vanilla HP. Just spawn in another X Dino. There it is. 1 point is all that's needed, and I'm matching the vanilla, and I'll still have 14 level ups when this guy's finished up getting experience. Okay, so just looking at the damage resistance again with these creatures, we know that when they're tamed, they don't have any resistance. But let's look at the wild creatures. It looks like the auto turret is dealing the same amount of damage for the vanilla, the Aberrant, and the X Dinos. And it looks like the heavy turret does as well, so there's no damage resistance for the X Dinos or turret damage. And just for fun, we'll check out the Tek turret as well. They get wrecked. Okay, so what about other sources of damage? What about Wyvern damage, the special attacks? Poison Bomb does 1, 2, 3, followed by 10. And the melee damage is 98. Okay, so no change on this variant. This is the Aberrant Spino. Here is the X Dino, which has a damage resistance, but it's not affected by the special attack of the Wyverns. Okay, so it looks like the 60% damage reduction is only affected by the melee attack of Dinos, as we're only doing 39 here. And I'm sure this will apply to the other special Wyvern attacks as well. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Tek Dinos, but I think now the X Dinos are now the favorites to go for, because they get a damage increase and they get 15 more levels after tame or breeding. I mean, Tek Rexes are just RNG. Right, so we now know that there will be different biomes in Genesis Part 2. This means different regional creatures. You've seen the concept art. We know there's going to be an aberration type zone, there's going to be a Green Hills type zone. I don't know, things may get a little funky, but there'll be probably a couple of new regional dinos. We'll check that out when it comes out. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of checking out the stats in more detail. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. And if you want to see more ARK content or you've not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.